All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to FinTech Close-Up. So FinTech Close-Up is a series of events where we invite FinTech founders, FinTech key personnel to tell their story, how have they built FinTech, and we can learn from them. My name is Nauris Bloks. I'm FinTech Business Education Lead at RBS. Today with me, I would like to welcome Viktor Bodnár, co-founder of B2B crypto platform BlockBen, CEO of cross-border payment platform Benker, and Latvia has just recently, last week, issued the first MiCA license, Markets in Crypto Assets license, and this came to the company, BlockBen. So welcome, Viktor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
So we will get to the BlockBen for sure. Yeah, so that's the highlight of our discussion. But before we jump into the BlockBen, Benker, and your current positions, tell a little bit about your background. Yeah, so the first, actually, Viktor is also our first international speaker. Yeah, so he's from Hungary, so not the Latvian. So that also brings some new knowledge. But tell you about yourself. So what you have learned, education, work before. Yeah, so.
Okay, so thank you for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here. You have to excuse me, my Latvian is limited, so I have to stick with English. I speak Hungarian as well. That would be a problem for most of you. So my background, I have a business education background. I have a master's in project management. So I consider myself a program manager or project manager by trade. Initially, the first 10, 12 years of my professional life, I spent with a property development organization, developing property basically, both in Hungary and in Australia. Then I lived in Australia for
Australia,
okay. Yes.
That's not close.
Other side of the, the globe, yes. So down under 5 years. And it was in 2017 when I was thinking, I've been always thinking of trying something else and learning something new. And one of my best friends, my childhood friends, we grew up together, one of my business partners, even today, he kept on bugging me to get into the crypto space a little bit. And it's okay, why not? Let's do it. And we always try to be amongst the first, especially Hungarian-owned company, to be on the regulatory side and compliance side with crypto. And back in 2017, they thought that we were stupid. Yeah? Like, why would you do crypto in a licensed and in a regulated way? And it turns out in 8 years, it's probably the way, I think. Definitely the way. And so we started BlockBen end of 2017. I think the first license or first registration we got was early 2018, I think. Just trying to find the years because, believe me, it seems 20, 25 years, even though it's only 7 or 8. So we got a first license in early 2018, I think. And ever since then, we've been building the business. And we had a spin-off business we still have it on. It's an electronic money institution, which is it's a completely different topic, and probably I wouldn't get that deep into it today. Probably it's more interesting.
It was under the BlockBen, or that was something?
It's a completely same UBO structure,
okay,
same ownership structure, yeah, but it's a different entity under different regulation, and that's where we are.
Okay, so the BlockBen you mentioned you co-founded with your childhood friends. So how many are you who co-founded BlockBen, and what is the BlockBen? What BlockBen is doing?
There's 3 of us who co-founded it, and there are some minority owners that came into the picture through the years. What was the other part?
What is the BlockBen? So what BlockBen is doing? What is
so we are basically under current regulatory term, we are doing, try to keep it simple, but so consider just one element. So consider cryptocurrencies today, I think in end of 2015 and from 2025 and 2026. So from next year onwards, consider crypto as a financial service, not a technology, I think. Because that, in my view, that's what the regulation is basically about. Obviously, there are a lot of IT and a lot of technology elements, but it's a financial service. We're getting back to the point, what is BlockBen? We are issuers, so we are creating cryptocurrency for companies and organizations who want to have their own crypto for numerous and various reasons. That's what we do, and we help them enter the market as a launchpad. So initial initial market entry
So
as
it's
well.
like crypto asset placement platform, yeah. So for example, I have a company, I want to issue some kind of token, whatever reasons, I can go to you and you do all the technical stuff. And
Technical is probably the least bit. Technical, like a technological bit we can do depending on your token, but it's literally a couple of days or only. So technically create a token and list it on our platform and put it into the app. It's a couple of days work, roughly. The tricky bit is the compliance element. So what we do is basically create an environment where a token be offered by you. So say you want to create a token, you will be an offerer. So there's the offering, and we will be the one issuing it for you on our platform. So that's what we do.
And then someone else can go to your platform and buy this issue?
Yeah, so we have clients who are actually downloading the application, and they are the ones.
It's like an exchange as well, or
Not from a regulatory perspective, no. We are not a traditional exchange. We are launchpad. That's probably the best way. Like launchpad, if any of you guys are dealing with or working with crypto, you would have seen launchpads in the past, but we are in the European Union. We are among the first ones with these type of activities.
Okay. So we will come back to the BlockBen, but you also have another position. Yeah? So you started the BlockBen, and then you moved to another position, which is CEO of cross-border payment platform Benker. So maybe tell about the Benker. So what is the Benker, and how did that happen?
Benker, going back a few years, our idea was to be as independent as possible, so not having to be exposed to payment institutions or banks because when you provide crypto activities, that's my personal view, not as probably a company director, but as Viktor as a person. My personal view is that today, even in the European Union, if you want to start doing crypto activities on a large scale, you will need a payment processor. So you will need someone that gives you euro balance, yeah, one way or the other. No matter what others say, that's why I think so. Obviously, we were always exposed to having to be working with numerous electronic money institutions or banks to be able to provide euro balances for clients, not for payments, because you cannot do payments, but for clients to have euro in their wallets. And their idea was to make sure that we can be as independent as possible. We create our own payment institutions, so we are not exposed to any third parties in payments. So that was the original idea. And from that, the word changed completely due to numerous reasons. So there was numerous business reasons and regulatory reasons why we separated BlockBen and Benker completely. And that's basically a payment institution based on, has blockchain technology involved as well.
So it complements the BlockBen story, actually. So initially it was the BlockBen, and then you separated, so it's payment institution, which helps to kind of facilitate also the BlockBen's operations.
So in startup terms, you would say it would be a spin-off, but it's a very expensive and very big spin-off on this end, yes. But it's a separated institution, correct, yes. And in terms of the positions, these positions have to be separated. So I'm sitting on the board of BlockBen, and I'm the CEO for Benker.
Okay, so this already shows that this space is really complex and evolving, so all the time it's changing. So maybe you can bring us through some maybe how the BlockBen has changed from the inception of it, and so what kind of major, let's say, learnings you have from this journey on the BlockBen?
I think it's a lot. It's a lot of. How many of you guys have ever, if I may ask, how many of you guys ever started a business or tried to start a business? Anyone raise a hand? Okay. How many of you hate the idea you started a business? Or dislike? Yeah, okay. A few more. I'm not saying that's how I felt sometimes with BlockBen, but these challenges and especially pioneering or being the first, amongst the first in certain things, I think that it can carry different challenges and different risks. So I remember it was in 2018, I think, or 2019, when, as I said, you cannot really run a crypto business without a payment company. So I remember when, for some reason, one day you wake up and you don't have a company that's processing your payments. And that's the first email you got at 8:01 in the morning. So having to restructure the whole thing and not letting the company go tits up. So the regulation framework and the regulation around these companies have been evolving significantly, I think, especially in the last 5-6 years. And a lot of challenges around that. Today, I think it's more clear what needs to be met and how it needs to be worked out on a regulatory side. and I think that a lot of players on the market are unhappy today. So looking at today the European Union, over 95% of the crypto players are, I want to look at it. Everybody's looking at it, I don't want to miss it, yeah? I don't want to be too boring, yes, so just, no, you're right.
We had problems with live streaming.
Okay. So having to meet regulatory requirements, I think, is generally a big challenge. And look at today the European Union, you will see that 95% of the previous crypto players are out of the market. Look at Poland, for example. Up until the middle of the number of the players in Poland have dropped. Do you know how many crypto players were on the market in Poland, say last year? 1,300. Today, there are 0 MiCA licenses as of today, as far as I know. There might be one, but I'm not sure it's issued. But there's 0 crypto licenses issued in Poland. There will be certain activities, so they might have gone to a different jurisdiction, but so that's how the market changed. And when you have, and looking at the challenges as well, I'm sure they are facing it. And you need to make sure that you can keep up with the pace and keep up with the requirements, how they are changing. I think this probably was the biggest. And I think we were fortunate enough from this aspect that we have created Benker, because that made us raise the bar and raise our operation level was within our whole group of companies, where we were forced 2 years back from 2022, 23, forced into a type of operation that's compliant with electronic money issuance. And looking at today's crypto requirements, there are a lot of similarities between. So for us, it's been a challenge as well to meet the MiCA requirements, but looking at the support of the Bank of Latvia, which was very, very helpful, I think we could jump this hurdle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's go to the licensing matter. So you originated the startup in the Hungarian, yeah, so Hungary. So question, how you decided, okay, the Latvia could be the region where you actually will go for the MiCA license? What was the compelling part of this? Because most likely you evaluated several jurisdictions, not only Latvia.
So we have some operations in Hungary, but we are not providing the license or the regulated business out of Hungary, so to say. And we've never done it. So we do have experience in the Baltics, in Estonia, in Lithuania, and now we are getting to know more and more about Latvia as well.
Did you have clients in the Baltics?
We have some clients, but looking at the number of clients, it wasn't our biggest market, so to speak. Looking at I think looking at the jurisdictions, regulators don't like, they call it license shopping, which we never would do, obviously. There's a lot of business prospect in the Baltics overall, in crypto as well, I think. Looking at the talent pool, it's very good. Looking at the regulatory environment, you will always need a regulator who has an appetite to work with you. There's a lot of people who don't say this, but this is something that you would have to take into account when you are looking at where you want to expand. Clients are open. Looking at all the fintech companies and the technology companies in the region, I think it's very obvious that the region itself is tech savvy and they're open to new things, and it's very international. That's what we found. And all of these matters, I think, arrived at a conclusion. And we are very happy to be in Latvia, and we look forward to growing the business here.
Still, the Lithuania has established a better fintech hub like earlier. So also you had some operations in Lithuania. So still, how did you decide that the Latvia would be better in this case? Because you already had experience with the Lithuania regulator. So why not to do the micro licensing also there?
As I said, there's numerous factors to consider, and we arrived at the conclusion to come to Latvia.
Okay. So
I'm not trying to avoid the question, but a little bit.
Yeah. So now we are happy that you are here.
Yeah.
So Latvia,
Thanks for having us. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So did you evaluate some other, not Latvia, Lithuania, some I don't know other regulators? So you see that there is no better place where to go.
We are speaking. So operating a business like this, you are speaking with numerous regulators continuously, not necessarily from a licensing perspective. Any of you guys know what passporting is, for example, in financial institutions? Yep, sure. So for those who do not know, so basically all the big financial companies or fintech companies do the same thing. You are licensed in one jurisdiction, and then you are so-called passporting it to all the other member states in the European Union. So therefore, you're able to provide services in other states than the state where you have obtained the license. That's called passporting. So not only from passporting, but other consumer matters and whatever, you always have some type of relation with the regulators. And our view is wherever we have a lot of activities, like Hungary, for example, is one of that, we always proactively speak with the regulators. So we go to approach them first rather than being approached by the regulator for whatever questions they might have, legitimate questions in a matter. So we are speaking with, I wouldn't say a dozen, but at least a handful of regulators on a continuous basis with a lot of matters.
All right, good. Let's check in with the audience. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're, yeah. Let's start with some questions about this topic, yeah.
I'd like to just throw in a quick question to have a context. Why do you need a license at all to run your business?
That's a question you should have asked the European Union in 2023 when the Parliament or the Assembly accepted the regulation. Because it's a financial service and there is it's a MiCA regulation, markets in crypto assets regulation, which actually deals with who can provide services related to cryptocurrencies within the European Union. And that's the law you need to comply with. I'm not sure where your question is actually coming from. If you're trying to challenge whether the regulation is right or wrong, I'm not sure that's the matter, or you just technical, okay.
Why do you need it? I didn't know that you have to be...
Why do you need?
I didn't know that you have to be licensed in order to provide cryptocurrency services.
So previously, some of the member states, including Estonia, and the more the time has passed, the more member states would have had some type of local, call it regulation or some type of act in place for cryptocurrency companies to comply with, but it was not consistent through the European Union. Yeah? So there were some states where you would have to speak with the tax office. It depends on, I wouldn't get into too deep because it might be a bit boring, but each country had some type of interpretation what to do with crypto, but it was never all the way through, no, it was never a Europe-wide solution. Yeah, it wasn't correct, yeah, thank you, so it wasn't harmonized, yeah. So then Europe, there were always some issues around cryptos in looking at from a legal perspective, in the regulator's head or in a state's head. One is money laundering matters and one is consumer protection matters. So when you were dealing crypto back in, or anyone, there were no guarantees or there were no safeguards in place in most of the states. So the the European Union came up with the idea, which we very happy for. They came up with a Europe-wide regulation on crypto. So the logic is the same you would have with banks, with electronic monies, with insurance companies. There's one ultimate legislation you need to comply with, and you have to obtain a license in one member state. And that's the reason. But what's the reason behind it? Because they want to make sure that retail users are not tricked and not screwed, if I may say that. And they want to make sure that regulators and tax office and everyone can look into the operation and data what you guys have as a crypto company. That's the reason behind it. And it's not an option when you comply with it. The law got accepted and the European Union gave a 18-month transition period starting the 1st of January this year. And that goes all the way until 2026, June 30th. And each member state can decide at which date they want to end the so-called transition period. So Hungary was the middle of this year, so that was from July the 1st onwards you could not carry out activities without a MiCA license. Lithuania is the first of the end of December this year, and it varies. But there's only a handful of states who are actually maintaining the transition period until the middle of next year. So that's the legal framework, but it's not an option whether you want to comply with it or not. So.
Bit to build on this question, we will go back to the question, but a bit to build on this question. From your experience and knowledge now, do you see this MiCA framework as an advantage for your business model or more like limitation for expansion and future growth?
If you accept the fact, which I very much agree with, but a lot of players will not agree with me, previous players, I consider cryptocurrency as a financial service and not as a technology. So if you accept the fact it's a financial service because you are selling and buying assets from people or they are buying it from each other for money or for other cryptos, I think it's a financial service to a level that needs to be regulated regardless we like it or not. If you look at that as a technology, so you have a blockchain and you believe, which a lot of people used to believe back in the day, I think that cryptocurrency can be a shadow system around normal money. I never thought it will sustain forever like that, and as you see, regulation change. So I think it's a necessary thing to have, and it has wiped out 95% of the market, on the other hand. So can it kill innovation? I don't think it will kill innovation, it will just rearrange the market. So if you are a tech company or if you are a blockchain company, that will, somewhere in the supply chain, it will have a very strong space, but it not necessarily will be a licensed institution, I think. So it will have some innovation in, remaining, I think, but the market itself will rearrange.
If the 95% were wiped out, then for your business it was very good.
I wouldn't jump to conclusions, but it's something that we are very grateful for our license, put it this way.
All right, good. Some more questions there was.
I'm gonna throw the mic. Yeah, and then you can pass.
Yeah. My quick question regarding the licensing process. How long did it took all the process, starting from the sort of idea to license here in Latvia, and then throughout the process till the license was issued? And maybe you have like key learnings, things that you would do maybe differently throughout this licensing process, or some fuck-ups or things like that.
Where did it start? I think it started 8 years ago, basically, because you need to be in a manner that you will have a central bank that's willing to and looks forward to be working with you. So I don't think you can just take it out of context that you apply for a license, and then if you're fortunate enough and you work hard and the university is nice enough, you obtain a license in the end. So I don't think you can take out of context. The entire procedure, under the legislation, you were unable to lodge a license application prior to the 1st of January 2025, sorry, yeah, so this year. Looking at the entire process, looking at pre-lodgements, meetings with the regulator, preparation as well, you're looking at close to a year. But that's fast, yeah? Looking at, so you will, to have a license that fast, you will need a regulator who wants to, and who's proactively looking for these opportunities with market players already, and so it depends. But in terms of volume of documents, it's a big thing, yeah? So it's 100 plus documents, policies, procedures, and looking at pages, it's over 3,000 to 4,000 pages custom. So it's not only you keep in mind, it's not only a set of documents you need to prepare, yeah? So it's a business you need to be able to run in a compliant manner.
And was there any things that you would do differently, or something that...
Start earlier.
So when
really.
When you came to the, when you came to the Latvian regulator with the intention that we want to apply for the license, that was last year already?
I wouldn't comment on that, yes.
Okay.
But looking at from roughly a year, yeah? But that includes, in Latvia there is a thing, it's called pre-licensing, which I think it's a very, very smart thing, how the regulator does it. I'm not sure if you guys know about it, any of them? Okay. So just in short, so normally, if you read the legislation, one would think that if you comply with every element of the legislation, you just rock up at the regulator and lodge for an application and you will get a license in, I don't know, 40 days or whatever the legislation said. But in the end of the day, it's a lot more complex. So you need to start proactively communicating with the regulator, and basically you need to sell them your idea what you want to create as a business. And once they are very supportive, then they will most likely encourage potential applicants to apply for a license, and then you go through the journey with them. Speaking from a regulator side, which we've seen, and not only because I personally have a very good and very positive experience with the regulator, looking at other companies and other jurisdictions, this is a new license type for regulators. So it's not a license type that's been out on the market for, say, 10 years, and regulators have a strong experience how to do it. So if you take this into context as well, I think the regulator was great and very, very helpful. I'm not sure that's the best way to phrase it, but
Supportive. Yeah.
Supportive, yes, that's a good word, probably, yes. But I see other jurisdictions where you don't have any MiCA licenses issued. I wouldn't name any of them because it gets a bit, but you can find and look at all the 90-some MiCA licenses issued in the European Union as of today. Look at which jurisdictions have issued and which have not. And they will have a reason always.
Bit to build on this question. So you had also went through the EMI and payment institutional licensing processes. So
That is
how
correct.
How you compare this? This is more complex or the same level of complexity or just different?
Different, obviously different. Looking at the current MiCA interpretation, how it's licensed, I think it has a lot of MiFID elements. I'm not sure if you know anything about MiFID. So MiFID is basically about investment products and financial products creation in licensing. That's one bit. And from a procedural perspective and from a business continuity perspective whatsoever, there are some similarities you would have seen with the electronic money institutions. But you cannot copy paste like, we've done an EMI, say, we licensed an EMI, say, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and you just copy paste what you found there. You will have a knowledge, but since we are running such organizations in a compliant manner, you will have a mindset how to document and how to set up a business like this. So that helps a lot. But I think if you want to start from zero, you need to find the jurisdiction that will be welcoming you first, that will be challenging, probably. And second, if you find a jurisdiction that will be welcoming, then you need to put all these things together, and then it will be a learning curve one way or the other.
Okay, let's take one more question from audience.
Hi. I saw BlockBen presentation in FinTech Association when it was in Hungary, embassy also, I think you presented. But I wanted to ask, you got, BlockBen is registered in 20th of May this year. How hard it was for Latvian commercial bank to issue you actually an account? Because we've heard that it's kind of challenging for other companies to acquire a bank account here, and especially, I know that Magnetic Bank is right now your partner. So
What's the question?
So the question is, how hard it was to
This
show?
issue that for fintech companies, banks are not very open to open accounts, so bank accounts. Was that issue for you, for BlockBen?
So it's not a foreign company, it's a local company, BlockBen CA, first of all. So I'm not sure what's the policies on and what's the risk appetite for commercial banks having a foreign company. So it's a local company owned by foreign UBOs, just to be precise. Magnetic Bank is very supportive, so we've been working with them for a while, and it's not a place for any advertisement or anything, but they appear to be supportive and they understand our model. But as I said, I would not generalize as foreign company or not. You have to look at it in context. We've been running a business or businesses in a compliant way for several years. So it's a lot different, in my view, to open a bank account for a company or a sister company of an organization like this, or someone that rocks up on day one, never done anything. But as I said, it's probably would be a question to any commercial bank, what's their risk appetite and procedures around this. Yeah?
Okay, we will get to the questions a bit later from audience, but to continue with our discussion, so let's maybe a bit switch away from the license. That's of course interesting, but let's talk about the business itself. Yeah?
Okay.
So what has been the key drivers and enablers for BlockBen's business growth? Yeah? How you see from the business perspective, what has been the success of the BlockBen?
We had ups and downs in the business, to be honest. We had more advantageous times and we had more rough times. So I think this license does help a lot, obviously, not only from a compliance matter, but from a branding, from an image matter, from a lot of things. And we see that, obviously.
And so you already now see the more demand due to
definitely, yes. We see the demand, and currently we are not onboarding any new clients as of today under the new license because we need to transition from the existing business to the new business because these are separated for BlockBen, but I would not get into this at this stage if you guys don't mind. So there are certain legislations which I think those are the ones, because we usually had a pretty big organic growth and I think we had some good market opportunities. Our issues, what we had been facing, especially in the last year and a half, is certain jurisdictions' interpretation of MiCA and transition period. For example, we have a large Hungarian client base, and due to the transition period under MiCA in Hungary, for example, we were unable to onboard any new clients in Hungary from the 1st of July this year. So imagine that. There's a very high demand, and they just basically cut out your strongest leg in the business. So those are obviously things are changing due to this now, but so these can change. Our success depends, of course, on based on the success of our platform clients as well. So the better the client is, the more success we will have. We see some very, very interesting prospective platform clients coming. Latvians as well, Latvian businesses. So you will see it in the weeks following that we have some very interesting topics and very interesting companies that are, you would have never thought that they will be tokenizing and they will be offering tokens through us.
Can you give some success case, like example of some what kind of tokens are being issued on your platform?
I would not. You guys told me not to advertise anything, not even drink. So I'm not going to do it with our clients, only just a little bit. So we have a technology client which is multiple ownership. It's a holographic company, and it's a very interesting token metrics what they have, and I think it's a great success story for them. They're in 3D holographic technology. And so we've been working with them a lot in the last year, mostly, even considering that the regulatory limitations. And looking at I think we were very, very much looking forward to obtain our license because we have so many platform clients lined up, which we could not issue in the last year due to the fact that there is regulatory change. And imagine that you are a company, want to issue a token through a platform which does not meet the new legislation that you know for a fact will come in place. You will be very, very cautious what you get yourself into. But what we see today on the market, under some NDAs, I would not get into company names if you guys don't mind, but I can give you sectors. So real estate is one very interesting sector that wants to get involved in the tokenization. There's numerous business cases and where we can and where we potentially would like to create tokens with real estate. Believe it or not, there's a lot of demand from celebrities and music industry as well. But those are type of tokens which are, technically speaking, those are under MiCA, but those are not type of tokens which are created for potential financial gain. They want to create community, further engagement with their followers or their viewers or their...
Some kind of loyalty token that you get?
I wouldn't say loyalty, but there's... Follow us, please, and in a month following you will see like a very interesting case with that. Loyalty, the reason I would separate that because we see high demand from companies that do have a loyalty program in place, like from a traditional point of view, but they would like to tokenize loyalty because once you tokenize it, there is other opportunities around loyalty points or loyalty tokens whatsoever. That's a very high demand as well.
A bit of deep dive to better understand like practicalities of this, of the hologram example which you mentioned. So it means they tokenize the holograms, and then you can, as a user, can go and buy some kind of token of hologram which represents the hologram, or how this works, like from user standpoint.
It's a 3D holographic technology company which they have some collector items with holograms, but their biggest market is hard security. So basically, they are tokenizing. We helped them create a token, which where they could actually reach a new type of clientele, even through their collector cards. But basically, you're buying a token which has numerous use cases, and that's basically the case with most of the token projects. So not only one use, but multi-use tokens. So you can use it to buy something from that company. You can use it for, you can transfer them, you can sit on them, you can actually sell it on secondary markets. There is numerous ways you can do with tokens.
And for the company, so it's some kind of bring the funding to...
It depends on, yes, it depends. Some companies want to, I wouldn't say funding because that's a bit different. Yes. Yeah, but I would say attracting new clients for their existing products or something with a new product. So you can create collector items with something which you're only offering to token holders, for example. So that's another opportunity. But real estate, I think it's a very interesting way to do it because once you're able to tokenize real estate, you're reaching completely. So it's still the same. In the end of the day, there's real estate behind the token. That's a big... We have a handful of clients which we are working on solving their tokenization matters in a compliant way. So basically, you want to make sure, according to their demand, you want to make sure that you are reaching new clients. So I'm coming from property background, and so looking at, you will need definitely a couple €100,000, I think, in Riga to buy property. You will need, I'm not sure what's the local legislation, 10, 20, 30% of that you will need equity to buy. If you're good enough, you will get a mortgage. but it's a very different volume of clients that you can reach for property speculating on property growth, potential growth, and renting it out, where you are able to break down the whole property into, say, €1 bits of tokens instead of having to have, I don't know, 50,000 euros to get into that space.
Mm-hmm. So as a real estate company, I can go, I have a house, I don't know, it costs 1 million, nobody will buy it as such. I can tokenize it and then sell it in €1.
We are working in tokenizing it in a way that's relatively easy. I try to be very careful with the wording, yeah. But any structure you're doing, it needs to be approved by a regulator around these. But yeah, but there's a lot of business opportunities around it, yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that the demand is high and you have like clients already stocked up and waiting when you can onboard them.
Yeah.
So how you made it that your word is known there, that you have this platform? So there was some kind of early like marketing, or that just naturally due to sector growth, it just happened organically?
We've been in the space for a lot of years, and through referrals, through friends, and through it actually just started spreading. Looking at platform clients, we don't, as of today, we still don't do any proactive sales in attracting new platform clients. We got found. I understand it's not the most ideal way, and obviously we will be doing more sales activities in this, because the more companies want to create tokens, the bigger business opportunity we have, and it's a larger selection pool who we get first. Obviously, we like all potential token projects. Some we might like more, put it this way, but we like all of them, obviously. And but it's based on our reputation in the market.
Mm-hmm. So you have built up throughout these years. That's okay. You are a known brand already in the company, so.
Yes, and we ended up having to start. We have a calendar where we actually start putting into the new projects when we can release them, because we should not release, not only from a regulatory perspective, but from a business perspective, like flooding our B2C client base with, 5 tokens at the same time. What appears to be a bit of an overkill initially. I think we have the demand on the user side as well for tokens, but in the end of the day, you have to release them structured a little bit, not everything at the same time.
All right. If we go a bit on the technology side, yeah, so how you built your own blockchain, or are you using something that is already available there and just putting pieces together?
I'm not a tech guy, so
Conceptual,
this I can answer, yeah, obviously. but so we came up with an idea to build our own blockchain. Keep in mind we were back in 2018, yes. So back then technology wasn't at a level. When you start procuring blockchain technology from third parties, it becomes very complex when you want to do it in a compliant way. So you need to keep in mind, go back to my original point, you are providing a financial service, yes? So for a financial service, you need to be able to provide KYC, which is not a blockchain matter, it's another layer built on the blockchain itself, but it's something that you need to be able to work. There's this lovely thing, which I very much agree with, but initially a lot of companies did not like it, is GDPR. And there's bank secrecy requirements as well. So imagine a blockchain where you're putting everything into a blockchain where you need to keep it secret, confident. You cannot disclose client data for numerous security and safety reasons. And back then it was an idea, okay, so anything that we want to procure from the market will not fly. So why don't we build ourselves? And building our own blockchain platform was the most expensive thing I've ever done in my life. Very expensive, yeah, enormously. And somebody had that question, why do I do anything different? We spend a lot of money on learning how to do it. And now whenever we do any upgrades in our blockchain system and on our platform, in terms of effort, and if any of you guys doing any innovation elements, you will see this, or you might have experienced it. Initial steps in the innovation, we spent, say, 100 units of resources, and we gained, say, 10 units of benefits. Now we're spending like 1.5 units of resources, and we are getting 50, 100, and 115 benefits. That's how the ratio changed, yeah? But obviously you need to spend that money to learn it, how to do it. And
that's due to the early stage of the blockchain itself, right?
And understanding how to do it, yeah. I mean, this research and development cost is enormous, yeah. Still, we get goosebumps, and not the good ones, yeah. I'm not joking, yeah. It was next level. It wasn't a haircut. I felt it was trimming, yeah. Sometimes then skinning. So it was. So that's something that we would That's from a technology perspective. Today our system is DORA compliant, which is the I'm not sure if you know about it, but that's the digital organizations resilient. And so we could have done it, but that was a long journey initially how to do it.
All right. How big is the BlockBen team in like globally? So how much employees you have? Because if you are building your own blockchain, I assume you have quite a development team.
It used to, yeah. You're getting me back to my PTSD with the development phase.
Sorry.
At the peak time when we were doing a lot of development, we were like, I don't know, 50 people, 55 people even, 60-ish, if I remember correctly. But we are currently working with a lot smaller IT backend team, and our supply chain in IT is a lot more efficient. Overall team, I would say, we're continuously hiring, especially in Latvia as well. So around 30 people, I would say, the full payroll, and 25 to 30 people, expanding the team now. And but we have another handful of key suppliers we work with very closely, including law firms, audit, accountants, and stuff like that, which are technically sitting in another firm, but they're working very closely with us on a daily basis.
If you start to talk numbers, so how many tokens have been issued, like unique tokens on your platform, approximately?
Not that many, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 or 6-ish, yeah. But as I said, when we started really growing, we had to push the brake because of the new legislation change. We will have a lot of tokens coming out in the...
So that's also one client, one token? Or
it varies. We had, yeah, usually that's the case, yeah. The current deals we are looking at, and then we'll probably focus more on the one that's coming. That's probably more interesting. Sometimes we are contracted for a whole ecosystem as well. We started one token, and then, but we know already that which way it will be heading.
And like your revenues, then it's like commissions from the issuance, or how you're building your business side?
It varies. It depends on the client itself. We have a setup fee, which predominantly covers our cost. We have an issuing cost, monthly minimum fees, and transaction-related costs as well.
So you're just maintaining all the time the solution for
it varies by token. We just want to make sure that from a revenue perspective, it's good as well. Setup costs we need to take because it's costing us, as I said, not necessarily from the IT perspective, but from legal compliance and other elements we need to. It's costing like whenever you onboard someone, it's costing money. Ongoing monitoring, as you know, with financial institutions, it does cost money to get a client on.
All right. So we will zoom out afterwards, but before that, let's jump again to the audience. We have some few questions. Let's start here, and then let's throw it back there.
What type of important risks do you see for B2B platform, crypto platform business, and how would you manage them?
There's a lot of risk associated with it, especially so obviously there's a risk management plan as well from a regulatory perspective. I would not get into that. I would look at it from a business. If you're okay, if I answer it from that.
Business risks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Business
okay.
risk.
Yeah. So not from a business risk perspective, you need to make sure, I think, that you get platform clients on that you want to be associated with long term. So
choose your clients wisely.
Yes, because you have more, not anymore, thank God, because that spread out on the market pretty fast. That we don't want those type of clients necessarily who are not. It's a bit of a catch-22, but I don't want to sound cocky, but so we want to make sure that whoever wants to offer tokens, they can afford offering tokens. So you don't want to get someone who does not have money, has no idea how to do it. They just look at the token project. Okay, why don't we get some additional revenues from a token project and see what happens? It's something that's definitely a no-go in no way.
So no meme coins.
Meme coins it's interesting because depends you want to make a meme out of it or you want to make a financial product out of it, because it's a meme coin and a financial product, it's a no-go zone. But if you're creating a community token, which can be related to a meme or something, I think that can be an interesting element. But you don't want to make a financial speculation element out of a meme coin, in our view. So you want to make sure that you are surrounded with good platform clients. I think that's probably the biggest risk. And the second one is, which we try to put a lot of, and we try to be very open about it, is talent attraction to the organization. That's the key. So having the money to create a business like this, that's one thing. Having the reputation, that's another one. But having a talent pool and having guys to work with us for the same goal, that's probably one of the most important bits, I think, as a risk as well to manage. And there's no easy way around it. So you have to be good with especially your juniors as well, but senior staff. And then it appears that, like with BlockBen, our senior staff is very stable and people don't leave us. So.
What kind of skill sets and competencies are actually looking? What is missing for you to develop further your business?
Various set of competencies, I think. Business development.
Most painful missing competencies.
Because I wouldn't talk about compliance, but but obviously you need someone in compliance that's business focused, which we have already. So we have good compliance colleagues. In the fintech environment, I think it's you need a broad knowledge generally, and which I find that you're like. Don't want to throw in cliches, but usually the case is that you're either very good at something, but you're a bad leader, or you're a good leader, but you don't know anything about details, yeah? So you need to be navigating between these two bits. And what we found that you either find someone that's good in something, and then you try to build them into a more complex colleague in terms of soft skills, or if somebody has better soft skills, then you try to give them more details in the technical field. And then if you are fortunate enough and your colleague want to work with you as well, then it's inevitable to a level that to have both sets of skills at least to a level in place.
Mm. Okay, let me be then more direct. If someone wants to work for BlockBen, what you're looking for? What kind of employees now? Because we have students, maybe someone is potential future BlockBen.
Business, IT, marketing, design, a lot of things we have in place. So we're happy to look at. Very junior stuff is always hard to integrate for us. Because
the learning curve?
It's not necessarily the learning curve. So we are not at a size where we want to be at that size, but we are not at a size where the matter will be how much senior time it will take for someone junior to be on board. That's always the thing. And what I feel like we are always running after something, which I always think it will stop when we achieve a milestone, but I always see the next one we need to achieve, and we keep on running, and we try to expand the organization in a way where it would include my workload as well, where we try to have a better work-life balance, which I think we improved in the last couple of years. There's still room to improve, but that's always the question. So in certain fields, like IT, like back-end IT, that's something where we have a very high interest from junior staff that would like to join us. But it's okay, but how much work and how much we can involve them, because like from an IT perspective, our like senior backend IT guys are probably the most valuable element. So the more hours you take away from them, the less progress you will see. And then just going back to my ratios and input and output in innovation, comparing to say 5 years ago and comparing to today, it's completely different. So.
All right, let's go to another question.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that in Poland you had over 1,000 market participants and there's 0 MiCA licenses. I also know that Lithuania is firing people from the central bank because they hired a whole bunch of people expecting an onslaught of applications, and they've only issued one. BlockBen is the first one in Latvia. Do you have an opinion on why is it that the market is not responding the way the central banks expected when it comes to applying for MiCA licenses?
I do have a view, yes. I think the market did respond, but in my view, I think there was a lot of space for improvement in the market. I don't want to go back to compliance because it's a necessary must for everyone, from a lot of aspects. But as I said, if you accept the fact that providing crypto services is a financial service, not a technology service, then you will see, especially with smaller organizations, that I have no idea how would they. And that's what the market shows in the end of the day. They won't be able to jump that hurdle. So that's why. I'm not sure what was the expectation from a central bank side. You should probably ask the central banks themselves and what their view on it. My personal view is everybody wants to be very cautious, especially with the first licenses. You want to make sure that you're issuing licenses to organizations which you would consider lower risk than others. Like that's I would think, and in terms of readiness as well, like whether has someone ever, and we see what we have been through and what I have been through in the last, especially last 4 years, 5 years, like having to run an electronic money institution as well as crypto business like this. You are pushed into a box. We are not necessarily be always happy, but in the end of the day, you will be better and better in that box. And then when regulators look at you, they want to try to find boxes, I think. And that will be. But what was, I don't think that they were, I don't think any of the regulators were they were pretty open about it, that they are expecting a shake on the market in terms of number of participants who's going to stay. How they handled it, as I said, individual central bank's opinion, you would potentially ask them. You will get a response, I'm sure, how they see it. But it's so someone who is not prepared, and that's my view. Someone who is not prepared for a financial institution to be operated on. Regulators will see that, yeah, and regulators will see that, yeah.
Yeah, I think also that this gap between the blockchain projects, which are, let's say, quite easy to start from technology standpoint, yeah. So and then you have to fill in this gap with the regulation, which is huge. Yeah? So most likely these blockchain projects starting as a technology projects, only then understanding that that's a financial service and that changes everything. Yeah? So and that's why this gap is being created.
I think, yeah, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why the supply chains will completely change. So you might have been, say, 5 years ago, you would have had your own crypto as a company in whatever jurisdictions in the European Union, and then try to navigate through it. You wouldn't have a bank account, so I don't think normally in the EU. So if you were not at least registered to a half-decent regulator or like a tax authority or something, I don't think you would have had a bank or an electronic money institution who would run a, just answering the question, who opens a bank account, yeah? Mm-hmm. So it would have not been easy for you to find a bank account itself. And in my view, if you're running a crypto project and you want to demonstrate that you are good, you will need a euro account back then. Today you cannot, under MiCA, you cannot keep euro balances for clients because they consider it e-money anymore, but it used to be the case. So that was one big filter on the market. So like us, for example, we were always able to provide, up until obtained our license here in Latvia, but previously we were able to keep euro balances, which was always a big flagship thing for a crypto company, that you were able to provide euro balance in the wallet for a client, not for payments, only to replenish account and transfer it back to their own account. Yeah. That would have been probably, I don't know, 3 to 5% of the market participants back then. So that was already a filter, yeah? Because the bank will not open you an account if they don't like the way you operate. So that's why I think looking at the number of participants, I think it will change. The more or less licenses are issued in one given jurisdiction, the relatively easier it will be for the next one. Not from the compliance burdens to jump, because you have to jump it, but from a regulator experience and knowledge and appetite, but I'm sure it will be the same as you would see with any licenses. So sometimes they want to get more participants in, and then they're going to start raising the bar, so it will go back, and it will be something like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do we have some other questions? Okay. For now, it's good. But yeah, then the blockchain space is like rapidly evolving, and you already early decided that it was an expensive decision to build your own blockchain. But how do you see these emerging technologies in the blockchain space, AI? Will that somehow transform or help your business growth, or you see that, okay, you will steadily stay on your technology path, and that doesn't impact you?
I'm not an AI expert on an IT level, so I just want to put a disclaimer in. I think AI is, we are building our AI internal policies, how we're going to implement AI even further in the organization. From a development, from an IT perspective, how to put AI into the development itself, it varies by senior developer how they see it, whether you can, how much you can do with AI. But as I see it today, like senior knowledge in backend development, I don't think today it can be replaced by AI. Down the track in 2 years, 3 years, whatever, I'm not too sure, but I would probably, there's something to ask from like very highly skilled backend developers. AI we are using, obviously, in the organization in numerous elements, and we are looking at options how we can expand it, because obviously we see the benefits.
And other blockchain projects, do you somehow leverage also that, or you are just building your own blockchain and that's it, and you are not looking what's happening in the blockchain space at all?
We are always looking, and we are expanding our knowledge, and especially our developments, my CTO business partner as well, they are very open in education as well as in any blockchain communities, exchanging ideas. Central banks as well, what we see. In a regulated space, it will always be interesting a bit. As I said, like why we picked our, and there more and more companies are coming in and they are trying to produce blockchain-based financial services, one way or the other, I think, apart from crypto, and I think that will expand as well. We have a product which we have never commercialized, that's our core banking engine, which we created ourselves, and we are using it. We had some inquiries, fair few inquiries in the past years that market participants potentially want to license it, and that's something that we will be probably looking at in 2026, what to do with it. But we are happy that we can service ourselves. So,
But sorry, to going back to your expensive blockchain implementation. From today's knowledge, if you have to start again, would you still build your own, or you see that there is already the technology is mature enough that you can use something already out there?
it's not a fair question, but I think it's hard to say, because I would say yes, I would do it again. But if I have my knowledge and my IT team has the knowledge, we would be able to do the same thing a lot cheaper. But you have to go through those learning curves, I think, in the end of the day. But the market does it as well. But as I said, it's for financial industry, blockchain, having a hybrid blockchain in place, it's something that never really happened before. Especially we have some very interesting and very nice and fine bits in our system which are interesting to a lot of players, I think. I think I would do it, yeah. I would be more cautious on the cost side, but I would get into it again, yeah.
All right. What about the competition? So, yeah, the micro licenses are not much there, so you have an advantage now. But do you see you have already emerging competition which is trying to do something that you are doing?
Such issuance, what we do, which is our bread and butter, we don't see that today, which we're happy with. But we do have experience in it as well. So,
in European level or global level also?
I'm not looking at the global level that much, apart from we do. I was in Singapore, the Singapore FinTech Week, I'm not sure when it was, like a month ago, probably 4 weeks ago. We were in Hong Kong as well. So we do, and we go to some of these venues occasionally. But I would see that the Asian market is very different than the European market, especially following the regulation of the EU. As long as we look at BlockBen as a financial service, as I said, then it's a crypto service which is close to financial service, put it this way. I think competition outside the European Union is not that much of a issue for us. But looking at innovation and looking at new elements on the market, we are very happy to see what's going on. But looking at the current licenses, we always analyze what's coming in and what type of activities. And you can definitely tell that the market itself started rearranging itself. So what was, say, 6, 7, 8 years ago, what used to be within crypto space, what type of activities, and where it's changing today, I think it's very different. A lot more regulated, like originally regulated companies are started looking at crypto, for example. I think that's a big change today. So you would be a fund, managing funds, you would be a bank, or you would own a bank as well, or a financial custodian service, whatever. Then you fund management, as I said, and you start introducing crypto one way or the other, and then you start looking for your own license as well. That happens a lot.
Just had a question in my mind and I forgot about it. Okay.
Like, for example, I wouldn't name that company, but it's in this region. It's one of the largest FinTech unicorns, obviously, and they obtained a micro license as well themselves in a different jurisdiction where they are regulated for their original services for some reason. But they are obtaining a micro license themselves as well. So that I think that will be happening on the market more and more.
Yeah. So what's next for the BlockBen, and what are your milestones? What you want to achieve in the next 1-2 years? So now you have the license. That was a huge milestone.
Yeah, we are doing the passporting right now. So we are passporting to all the member states, and the milestones, we have a very, very nice and very interesting roadmap for 2026. The ones that I'm in a position to disclose, we want to launch as many projects as we can in a reasonable way. That's a very important thing. And we have some interesting collaborations for next year as well with brands.
So just expand the client base, which is waiting for your product services, and also building some new business directions. Do you see that Mike opens you some new directions where you can go, not only the, let's say, token placement?
I think one of my biggest role and one of my biggest tasks is just to make sure that we're staying on the track. Unfortunately, what I do, yeah, I'm in the business of no's, yeah? So I get approached by so many things, and I say more no's than yeses, even though I consider myself a positive person and open to new things. But we have so many things that they want to drag us into, or even my team internal, okay, let's do this, that. And the more we start going outside of our core business, the more complex it becomes. And just going back to the risk, to the previous question, that's a big risk. So we need to make sure that we are keeping our services at a level and at a scale and the variety where we can actually scale that up instead of bringing a lot of new things and not be good at a lot of new things. But on the other hand, you want to make sure that you're staying ahead of the market a little bit. That's a big of a challenge. But I think like early phase issuance and offering tokens for and helping companies offer their tokens through our platform, that's a huge opportunity, I think, on the market. There's high demand for it, so we just need to make sure we're able to articulate it, and we want to make sure that we can keep it, especially down the track, as cheap as possible for someone to offer the tokens, yeah? So in terms of setup fees and other fees. And it's a scale exercise, so the more we have, the cheaper we can actually make it. But that's something that we are definitely looking at.
You have a good head start, but someone else can catch up still on the business. You hear there's high demand on these type of services. Before we are wrapping up, maybe there is some other question from audience. Okay, some more.
So, you said that you came into it, this was very high demanded. How did you manage to land your first client? Because it's 7 years ago, you're this youthful guy trying to get a head start. How did you find your first client? Did you go to a people approach it to show your platform, or people actually heard about you and wanted to be the first ones?
It's a very good question. I've never been asked this, but it's a good question. Very rational question. We started with our own projects initially and demonstrated it can work. And then the market see it can work, and then the market came.
Okay, so you created the show and tell to everyone?
Not a show, we created good products.
Okay, oh wow.
So use your platform to build your own products, and then based on that you can onboard also the clients.
Okay.
And then market saw. And then as the regulation started changing, then it made a big awareness on the market. And then when we started getting in platform clients, we wanted to make sure we get good clients on.
Okay, thank you.